So, this past weekend there was a major event in the world of Battlefront. Do you want to explain who you are and what was going on this weekend and how it all went?
Yeah, I'm Adam from Battlefront, and we did a massive mega battle for the Iron Maiden launch, Team Yankee. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We ran 4 tables together, so a lot of terrain and 300-point armies on each side. Had the Russians invading over the border, with the Brits and a few Germans defending. Started off with an ambush from the Gordon Highlanders, which did very, very well. Gordon, our boss, was very pleased, obviously. And then proceeded into the massive tank battle. But it took us all of a day, really, to get all through it.
Okay. And this was the launch of the new British supplement for Team Yankee. So what's the good stuff that you can get at the present time for the Brits?
At the moment, it's mainly the army deal. So chieftains and Lynx helicopters. But next week we'll have more of the infantry and FE 432s,
right,
which are pretty deadly.
Okay. Okay. And so you said the battle was over a series of tables.
Yes.
It looked to me, and no doubt the viewers can see from the video, that it was
Yeah.
a very long table.
Yeah.
What were the sort of objectives that each Soviet thrust was supposed to achieve?
Well, the Soviet midterm objective was to take the bridge.
Right.
And then for a full victory, they had to reach the town and the Autobahn there.
Right.
And vice versa for the Gordon Highlanders, they were to slow the Soviets long enough for the British to set up on the river to defend it, which they succeeded in doing. And the Soviets almost took the bridge, but were eventually wiped out.
Okay. And in terms of gameplay, did it work out as you thought it would, or was there any aspects that seemed particularly deadly, or was it just the excellence of the players involved?
Well, it's a deadly game, more so than the other games we do. And with the era, all bigger guns, all rocket-propelled stuff, and rangefinders, and it's just everything's, you can see something, you can kill something.
Right.
But the game played really well, and I expected the Soviets to get further. I was surprised how effective the infantry were.
That was the infantry and the air mobile infantry and the Lynx helicopters.
Yeah.
And that's because they had Milan teams, was it?
Yeah, Milan launchers, and even their 66mm rockets and things were doing some real damage.
Okay. Okay. So is it safe to say that the Soviet advance was stopped at that point?
Well, they took some casualties getting through the Milan ambush, and then when they engaged the chieftains, they hit hard the first couple of turns, but chieftains are pretty good at defending, it looks like. I would say they're definitely a defensive kind of weapon.
So does the British Army, the new releases and the way they work in the game, does that make a big difference to the game if you're up against the Brits?
Very much so. The Brits have some unique stuff which you don't really see in the other armies. Definitely the infantry, not just the airborne, but the mechanised stuff is more deadly than your average. And the tanks play quite differently. They've got good armour and good firepower, but they don't play well on moving. Right. So they drop down to 1 firepower if they're moving, where the Russians always won, and the Americans with less firepower, but better stabilising equipment and that kind of stuff can move and fire and are a lot more versatile.
Right.
So yeah,
okay.
They play quite different. So.
Good. Thanks, Adam. That's really interesting. I hope you took all that in, folks, and I hope you're going to be buying lots and lots of Battlefront product.